It's really important to remember that LinkedIn is a professional network. It's about networking with other professionals in your industry, in your sector. That's the real power of LinkedIn, is when you build those contact networks. So we're going to talk about some simple strategies to make sure you have achieved a certain level of connectivity around LinkedIn. The more people you connect with, the more information you can see on LinkedIn, the more you can use it, and the more people you influence. So there's loads of reasons as a recruiter or HR professional for you to do all this stuff. So first things first, you want to make sure that you are achieving at least 500 connections. LinkedIn doesn't show what number you have beyond 500 connections. But if you're in the recruitment business, people expect you to be connected. So anyone below 500 connections looks like they don't know how to use these tools. So I know it's just a number and we hate to just focus on numbers, but try to get above that 500. Even if you only get to 501, you're the same as everybody else with a big network. It's important to reach that milestone on LinkedIn to show some credibility in terms of your networking ability. So some rules first about building your contacts before we go off and show you some tips and advice about how to add plenty of contacts. You have some restrictions. For example, you're restricted to 30,000 contacts on LinkedIn ever. Most of you are probably miles away from having 30,000 contacts, but it's important to know that there is a limit. There is a point that you reach where if you get to 30,000, if you're ever that successful, to add new people, you're going to have to delete old people. A milestone that you probably will reach quite quickly is the invite count. So you only get the ability to invite 3,000 people to connect. So once you've sent out 3,000 invites, you're done. You have to wait for people to invite you. That's how you get to your 3,000. So use these invites sparingly. I don't advocate just inviting and connecting with absolutely anybody. Relevance is really important. It's not about the total size, although getting to 500 plus is just important in terms of the impression it gives out. But beyond that, it really isn't about the number. It's about the quality of that network. You probably want to network with people in your market and with the skill types you want to basically hire for or from. So it's really good to have a niche network within LinkedIn and focus your attention on just adding people who are in your industry with the right job titles. But 3,000 is your invite maximum. Once you hit 2,000, the next time you invite somebody, you'll start seeing that clock count down. You can ask LinkedIn for more invites and they can give it to you. I think they give it to you in bulk units of 500 additional invites. If you're a good customer, if you ask nicely, if you don't break LinkedIn's rules, you'll probably get them. You can do that in the help section at the bottom. But do use it sparingly just in case they don't give you those extra invites. LinkedIn's terms and conditions and their rules specify that you are not allowed to connect with somebody who you don't already know. This is quite important. Most people see it as a very big social network. It's a closed, private social network in many respects. LinkedIn wants you to not annoy other members and pretend you know them or try and connect with them when you've no connection. Now, personally, I'll accept everybody's connection requests. I have a t-shirt that I won't mention that has LinkedIn connection something on it, which basically says that I'll connect with anybody. But I'm not normal in that sense, or many other senses. What I basically do and how I choose to connect with people is my private way of doing it. Other people are quite, I guess, personal about the way they connect. And a lot of people just don't like connecting with other people and who they don't already know. They're quite precious about that. So it's really important to avoid somebody saying, I actually don't know you, when you try and send a connection request. So let's have a look about how we actually do these connection requests. So let's have a look. When you connect with somebody on LinkedIn and you click the connect button, you're asked by default how you know that person. So if you do know that person, you can easily indicate that you're a colleague, classmate, we've done business together, etc. But a lot of recruiters tend to choose we've done business together or friend when they probably aren't. Big danger in friend is it's implying something that definitely is not the case if you don't know the person. A lot of recruiters I know click this, we've done business together, and they fill in the company and title that they had at a certain position that might know this person. And then what people do is they would edit this note here to put in some information about their job they're trying to recruit for and send the invitation. So if the person gets that and is open to the invitation, that's great. They see your message, they connect with you, and you're growing your network, and you're also communicating for free with LinkedIn. But LinkedIn don't want you communicating for free unnecessarily, or more importantly, annoying members by pretending to have a relationship. That is why they give members the ability to reject or ignore connection requests. If you receive a certain number of rejections or a certain amount of people ignore your requests, you can get what we call in rugby terms put in the sin bin. And what the sin bin basically means is that you get a slap on the wrist from LinkedIn. You are prohibited from connecting with people further without knowing their email address, unless you tick a box and say you agree not to break their terms and conditions again. You'll definitely get one opportunity to say sorry, tick the box, and then they will release that restriction on your account again. But if you do it enough times, as I have done many years ago when I was originally recruiting, you can get banned forever from connecting with somebody without already knowing their email address. So let's have a look at what it looks like if you have been prohibited or restricted when you try and connect with somebody. So when we're in a restricted account and we click the connect button, we see a completely different tab. We see the fact that we need to put the person's email address in. We still can customize this, but we have to put the email address in. And LinkedIn won't tell us if we got it right or wrong. It will send it to whatever email address we fill in here. And as you can see our countdown about how many invitations that we have left as well. So you're taking a risk here by having to know everyone's email address if you've broken those rules before. The best practice is to avoid people clicking don't know this person by making sure that you only connect with people who you know do know you because you've already communicated by phone or email or some other method. And whether they've said yes or no to the opportunity you presented to them, at least they know you at that point. And if we go back to using, for example, Outlook Social Connect or Rapportive in our emails, then we're only connecting with people that we actually correspond with to and fro. So they're much more likely to accept our connections because they actually do know us. Other things, if you do need the email address and you do need to put that in there, we cover that in Blue Belt in terms of how to research and find email addresses, which will give you a quick preview at the end of this module to get an idea of how we find email addresses. So it's not the end of the world. I certainly wouldn't say it holds you back. You look for patterns in corporate email addresses and we show you a technique of finding those patterns, and you can pretty much find anyone's email address and send it to them anyway.